On to C, insurance renewal, the Horton Group. You've got in front of you something that we have not had an opportunity to review. Not having a clerk treasurer here, this is something that had been missed. Our insurance lapses on the 1st.
It renews. It's an automatic renewal.
Okay. There is a price increase of about 2.7% in here. And I'm sorry, I don't know your name, but if you could come on up to the microphone.
I certainly can.
The board will have some questions for you.
Certainly. I'm Michelle Strauss from the Horton Group. I've been the insurance agent for the town of Waukesha for many years. I'm an independent agent with a public entity practice, and our agency represents over 700 public entities here in Wisconsin. So we're not your insurance company, or we're your representation in purchasing your insurance. The package you have currently is with Gladfelter Public Practice. As Chairman Merrick said, it's approximately a 2.6% increase over last year. Part of the reason is there's some fluctuation, of course, with changes within the municipality. The insurance company automatically raises the value of the property by 4% every year, so that causes a little flux in premium. Also, the liability rates are based on the expenditures of the municipality. So as the expenditures change, so does the pricing. So we consider between 2 and 3% to be relatively flat. There's a little adjustment in the workers' compensation. For many years, you have been with the state risk pool. And for the last 3 years, I was able to take the insurance coverage out and put it in the primary marketplace. The town's claims have not improved. The town's modification factor is 1.26. So we're once again having to place that coverage back into the risk pool. To give you an idea of the difference in pricing, last year your workers' comp had a premium of $21,934. And if you look in the second section of your book, the current pricing is $22,114. So it's pretty modest over last year. We have already made inquiry of the state risk pool to provide some loss control assistance to the town, which we had done previously when the town was with bituminous. We had actually had some representation come in to try to help assist the town with claims. Other than that, in this booklet, there is, under tab 3, there is a bond. Municipality must have a bond to cover the oath of office. This is a blanket bond which covers all officials and employees. And under the tab 1 is a supplement for the fire and EMS folks. It's a supplement that covers them between what workers' compensation would pay and what they typically would get from their day job. So those are the portions. And I realize you folks are at a disadvantage. I'm not going to read the book to you, but I'd be happy to answer any question you might have, or after you get a chance to read the book, I'd certainly be happy to answer anything that comes up. You know, I've worked with Attorney Macy previously, so we've had some experience with the insurance coverage and the claims process.
Mr. Chairman? Yes, Mr. Fisher?
We might, two things, a question for you in a moment, but first just a question to my fellow board members, the amount of the premium there, and I don't have the information with me tonight. Does anyone recollect whether we made any adjustments or increases in our budget for this year or not? Does anyone have a recollection of that? I do not. If not, we need not belabor that, but that's something we're going to take a look after. And a question for you, if you would, or a couple of questions. Page 6 of the booklet, I think that's even before that first tab. Can you explain just a little bit? I see some categories there under property, premises, summary, and I certainly recognize the address here, and I believe that second one is Wolf's Operation in Dousman. I guess I'd like to just have you explain what that entails, and then a little bit different issue, but perhaps on the same, midway down through the page, there's that area entitled Scheduled Property Coverage Individual Limits, and I see a reference here to salt storage, and then some references to being not covered as real property and personal property included in blanket, and I freely admit I don't understand that. Can you explain some of those things to me, please? What is being covered?
I certainly can. What we do is we always like to work with a blanket form. The reason we do is because it bulks the property at one location into one limit. What we have is we have the two different schedules, one for this location, and then, as you said, the other for the salt storage. At this location, you can see we have a blanket limit for both building contents and the building. Now, this does not include the equipment, the vehicles, or any of the fire or EMS related equipment. This is basic contents and building. Okay. Over at location 2, the salt storage that you were discussing, there is no building coverage there, but the personal property of the town is covered at that location. And that dollar amount or that value of that property is indicated in premises 2 as $11,440 at present.
I was going to ask you a bit of a question, tongue-in-cheek. We're insuring our salt there. I'm assuming you're not receptive to a claim tonight that someone stole our salt and that's why we're short? That was
well, that all depends. Do you have a police report?
We could have them shortly, probably.
Surprisingly, we have had yards of soil stolen before. It happens. It does happen.
Thank you for your explanation.
Sure.
I have a quick question. At year end,
Yeah.
do you audit our workers' comp? And is there any dividends or refunds if the estimated premium or the payroll was lower?
The workers' compensation portion is the only coverage that is audited. It's, of course, governed by the state of Wisconsin. All insurance companies must use the same rates, follow the same process. So the premium paid at front is a deposit premium, and it's based on your best determination of what your payrolls would be for the coming year. At the close of the year, those payrolls are audited, and if there's additional monies due, the town will be billed. If there's a refund, the town will be returning money. There is no dividend payable under the work comp pool, and I believe in recent years with bituminous, even though they were willing to cover the exposure, I don't believe there was a dividend offered on those either. If there had been, there wouldn't have been a dividend paid because you have to have a very low claim history in order to be eligible for a dividend. So hopefully going forward, as things improve, we can get you back into the voluntary market and then back into a situation where you could have dividends. Right now, your modification is 0.26 or 1.26, so you're paying 26% over what the premium rate is. And that's determined by the state of Wisconsin, based on your history.
And that's based on our loss history? Okay.
So it's costing you a little over $5,000 in penalty for your claims history.
Can you tell us of the estimated annual premium of $22,114? What is the mechanics of invoicing that to the town, the frequency of that, or when are the premium payments invoiced and paid?
Well, the way it was completed, there was a deposit premium of $5,529.
See that?
And then you do qualify for monthly installments. and that would be 9 installments.
And that's at no additional charge.
That is at no additional charge.
Thank you.
Anything further?
So I think we touched a little bit before the meeting, but we're in the pool now because of our workman's comp claims that we've had?
Yes. The insurance company is willing to work with the town for a 3-year term, but the experience was not improving, even though they had attempted to offer loss control assistance. So they did have us put you back into the pool. It doesn't make any coverage difference to you. We've already requested loss control help from the new insurer. So the only thing you will be missing is a small percentage of premium discounting that you can get in a voluntary market. But as you can see, you haven't really suffered any large increase in premium because of it. So I have a list of the claims, and there doesn't seem to be any simple patterns to follow. There seems to be there are few losses with some severity that really skew the town's experience. And I don't know if this has been shared with you. Brian, have you seen it?
I don't know that I've seen, excuse me, I don't know that I've seen the exact report to which you're referring, but I believe as a board, we are at least generally aware of what some of the past claims have been. At least that's my recollection.
I mean, I would be happy to leave this with you. We don't really want to get into individual names, of course, at this point, but I'd be happy to share the document with you. But it lists every employee and the claims involved.
Back to workers' comp, you've got one section here, 7720, police officer and driver. I guess I'm assuming that the sheriff's deputy that works directly for the town is probably insured by the sheriff's department, so what would, and you've got an estimated payroll of only $2,000. What's that for?
Well, that would be, do you have a constable?
We do not.
Okay. This would be worked out in audit. If that classification should no longer be applicable, when the town completes the audit form, there's a classification for police, and you'll put in 0.
Okay.
Okay.
I just have a question, I guess, maybe to go to Mr. Macy, if you're wearing the dual hat of the attorney and the clerk tonight, would it be appropriate for her to provide that list to the town clerk and simply have it accessible to any board member to review upon request, or do you have a recommendation in that regard?
Well, as she's indicated, we have to have some sensitivity with that document, and that document probably is confidential. If the board wishes to see it, she's offered to make it available to you, and that would be the proper way to do it. We just don't have, do we have a mechanism here that we know that it'll be safeguarded at the moment until our staff is totally up and running? I don't know. So you may decide that you want to wait, and, so that it's up to you, but
Maybe
what you have
that's-
proposed is correct. It should be given to the
Maybe-
clerk, it should be marked confidential, and it should be marked not a public record.
I guess I will invite comment from any other members of the board. If we simply decline at this point in time, we can request to see that down the road, can we?
You certainly may.
Okay.
Certainly
Thank you.
may.
Does it have names of?
Yes, it does.
And are we even allowed to see that with HIPAA rules?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Is there a motion regarding the insurance renewal?
Brian had a question about the budget amount, if the budget amount met the amount of the invoice.
Yes.
Yes, it does. I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.